Hi, my name is Kim Wroble, and I'm the dietitian down at Waterfront Hy-Vee in Iowa City, and I'm here today to talk about one of the articles in our new Back to School Seasons magazine, Roots and Greens. It's a great article. It's got some information on root vegetables. It also has a few recipe ideas and some background info on what these vegetables are and how to prepare them, what to look for, and a little bit about their flavor. I want to share with you a little bit more information, and then I'll show you some things that you can do with these vegetables today. To start with, root vegetables are the actual root portion of a plant. You've got the root portion here, or the stem, which would be something like a celery. You've got the leaves here, and then of course you'll have the fruit and the seed, different portions of edible plants that we eat. Typically, the root portion of plants are very inedible. They're very tough and fibrous, but for those root vegetables that we do eat, those are the exception to the rule. They are filled with not as much fibrous tissue, but the tissue in the matter that's in root vegetables gets converted to sugar when you cook it, and it's a very starchy matter, so it provides our bodies with good carbohydrates and is also usually a good source of fiber and vitamins and nutrients. Of these different root vegetables that I selected today, I'll just talk a little bit about each and how to prepare them and their flavor profile. Starting with this big guy, this is a rutabaga. When you cut it, it'll have this really light orange color, and rutabagas, you want to peel them. They're nice and heavy, and you can roast them in the oven with other vegetables. You can mash them as an alternative to mashed potatoes, but they have a very nice, nutty, lightly sweet, potato-like flavor. Very delicious alternative to potatoes that would also be lower in carbohydrates than your typical white potato. This purple and white one, a lot of times these two guys get mixed up because sometimes your rutabaga is a little bit smaller, but this is a turnip. Turnips have kind of a peppery flavor similar to a radish, but they're a little bit more starch-like. They've got a little higher carbohydrate content, but they're those good carbohydrates that we want to fuel our bodies during endurance activities or endurance exercises. Again, it'll have that potato-like flavor, lightly sweet, nutty also, but a little bit more peppery. And then actually radishes are also considered root vegetables, but they're going to have much more of that peppery punch. But if you roast these, like I'll show you later, that pepperiness mellows out quite a bit. And then of course we have our carrots. Everyone's familiar with a carrot. A carrot is actually a blend of the root portion of the vegetable and the stalk or the stem. And those technically, botanically, aren't actual root vegetables, but in the culinary world, we consider them root vegetables. And of course, carrots, they'll have a sweet flavor, nice strong flavor, and if you cook them, that flavor and aroma will become more pronounced. Similar to the carrot are the parsnips. They look like they're pale cousins here, and parsnips are fantastic. I really like roasted parsnips. They're similar in flavor to a carrot, but a little more nutty tasting. And then up here we've got our little potatoes. We've got some red potatoes and butter bliss potatoes, and we're all familiar with potatoes. Again, good carbohydrates. Don't be afraid to eat those potatoes. We also have onions, which are actually a type of root vegetable. And I've got a sweet potato here. Again, nice and lightly sweet. They will be nice and soft, not as starchy when you cook them, more moist. And this guy you might not be familiar with. This is actually a purple sweet potato. These are kind of cool. After you cook them, that purple color becomes more pronounced, which is fantastic for me. Purple is my favorite color. But these could be really fun for kids to eat. A nice new vegetable to try out at the table, and it helps expand your kids' horizons. Okay, so there's an overview of your root vegetables. You're going to want to peel all of them before you cook them. They grow in the ground, but nice and delicious. And coming up next, I will show you what to do with these root vegetables for a simple, easy side dish. Okay, and now I'm going to show you what to do with your root vegetables, a simple, easy weeknight dinner idea, and I will also show you something you can do with leftover veggies. So if you start by preparing tonight's dinner, go ahead and plan on making leftovers so that way you've got something ready to go for tomorrow night. What we're going to do is take from our selection of delicious root vegetables, we're going to prepare them. And what you're going to want to do for basically all of them is go ahead and peel the outer layer. Remember, root vegetables are growing in the ground, so even as much as you scrub them, you really want to take out that extra layer. So I've got my parsnip here that I'm going to peel. We've got a little rutabaga, turnip. You can do sweet potatoes, you can do regular potatoes, carrots, toss in an onion. You could even roast your radishes, and the radishes will get a nice sweeter flavor, and that pepperiness kind of mellows out. When you roast your vegetables, the root vegetables especially have quite a bit of sugar in them, like we've learned. And at the high temperature of your roasting oven, around 400 degrees, 375 to 400, those natural sugars are going to caramelize. So the pepperiness of your turnip or your radish here is not going to be quite as strong. The sugar flavor will come forward a little bit more, which is great for little kids that are a little averse to vegetables. Once you have all your vegetables peeled, go ahead and start chopping them. The idea is to roughly get them in pieces that are approximately the same size, so that way they roast at the same rate. You don't want huge pieces of potatoes and smaller pieces of carrots, because by the time your potatoes get done, your carrots will be burnt. So approximately the same size. Then go ahead and take whatever you're going to use here, and this is going to go into the same bowl, all of them together. Do my parsnips, my rutabagas, a few beets, and drizzle them with olive oil. You don't need a ton of olive oil, but you do want each piece to have a light coating. And that olive oil, or canola oil, walnut oil, any type of oil, is going to prevent them from burning, but it's also going to help with the browning or the caramelization of your vegetables. Now you can easily season them with salt and pepper. Just on a quick weeknight, you could throw some dried herbs in there. Or in our New Seasons magazine or catalog, there are some simple steak or meat rub ideas. And if you have leftover rub, I'm using here, there is a smoky spicy one on the bottom of page 41 here. It's called Smoky Herb. And it's a blend of ham base, which is similar to a ham bouillon, black pepper, garlic, chili powder, sage, and thyme. And then there's also, it calls for smoked salt. If you cannot find smoked salt, you can go ahead and use regular kosher salt with about a quarter teaspoon, half a teaspoon of liquid smoke. Okay, so that's what I have mixed up here. And for every 2 cups of vegetables, we're going to use about a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of seasoning, depending upon how strong you want your vegetables to taste. Give those a good toss. And then on a baking sheet, you can line it with aluminum foil or parchment paper just to make cleanup easier. Give it a nice spray of non-stick cooking spray. Spread your veggies on the tray, and you want to make sure that you have enough space in between them for the air to circulate. You don't want to have them all smushed together because they're not going to roast. If they're cooked this way, they're going to steam, and you're not going to get the caramelization. So if it takes 2 baking sheets to do all your vegetables, that's perfectly fine, but you do want to make sure that you've got that space in between. Now I'm going to pop these in a preheated oven. The oven's at 400, and it should take about 30 minutes. You can give the pan a good shake in between, halfway through, or give them a stir. So that way you have more vegetables that are actually touching the contact surface of your pan, because that's where the caramelization or the browning reaction will occur. Okay, so I'm going to pop these in the oven, and we'll be back, and I'll show you what you can do with your leftover veggies for tomorrow night's dinner. All right, and we've had our root vegetables roasting in the oven for about a half hour. I flipped them and stirred them halfway through, and let's see how they look. All right, these look delicious. You can see here the edges I've gotten a little caramelized, lightly brown pieces, and that's just a small batch of our root vegetables. And if you were to do a larger batch and you had leftovers, what you can do the next night is a take on one of the recipes listed in our New Seasons magazine, a roasted vegetable pizza. You could do summer vegetables like cauliflower, broccoli, artichokes, carrots, onions, whatever you like, or you can do more of a fall theme with the root vegetables like I did. You just need to grab yourself a pre-cooked pizza crust. I really like the Bobbly 100% whole wheat pizza. And even if you did summer vegetables or winter vegetables, you need some type of base. You can do pizza sauce. I'm going to do an alternative here with hummus. And this is a favorite type of hummus here in Iowa City, Oasis hummus. Oasis is a great local restaurant, and we sell their hummus here at the store. And again, hummus is just a blend of garbanzo beans, olive oil, garlic, tahini, which is a sesame seed paste. And we'll take some of these vegetables, and I'll go ahead and scoop them on here. Sprinkle them over your pizza. You could add a little protein if you wanted, some cooked chicken, leftover cooked shrimp, anything you like. You could even do more chickpeas for a vegetarian option. And then you can sprinkle it with mozzarella, or I have some Parmesan here. The Parmesan and the nuttiness will go nice with our roasted root vegetables. If you wanted, you could do a sprinkle of fresh herbs and a drizzle of olive oil. Pop that back in the oven for about 8 or 10 minutes, and that'll be ready to go. And you've got a quick, easy, vegetarian-based dinner idea that fits with the My Plate food guidelines. Simple ideas on our Seasons magazine. If you want the full recipe of that roasted vegetable pizza, be sure to go to Hy-Vee.com. Or if you want to pick up a local copy of Seasons, come to your local Hy-Vee, or go to Hy-Vee.com/seasons and sign up to get a copy delivered to your home. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy your veggie pizza.